How are y'all? We're the Maoris. I'm Adam. This is my wife, Elizabeth. And if you guys have heard any of the advertisements for LAM so far, I'm sure, especially you guys are probably thinking the same thing I was several $100s. It's like 4 days of all day long, and you're thinking, absolutely not happening. Because I was thinking the exact same thing. Which part of my thinking behind that was we actually have an amazing marriage. We actually, honest to goodness, have never had a fight. And any of y'all that have known us for a long time have heard me say that numerous times, and that's the honest to goodness truth. And so I was like, we have a great marriage. Why do we need to go to a marriage conference? But Beth and Tim Johnson and Rodney and Cheryl Rickard kept asking. And my other big reason for it is I was born and raised in the church. Then I spent 13 years as a full-time firefighter for the city of High Point. And for 30 years, my experience, both whether it was the church or the secular world in the fire department, was most people, I could never think of a single marriage throughout those whole 30 years that I could look back on and be like, oh, they had a good marriage. No, all I ever heard was men complaining about their wives mad at their husbands. And I, at 30, found myself actually divorced twice with 3 kids. And my experience of marriage at that point was marriage is actually pretty miserable. And I had got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm done with marriage. I'm done with women. I'm just going to be single. And I'd rather be single and alone than to be miserable. And then I walked in the doors of this church and I met Beth and Tim Johnson. And that was the first marriage I'd ever seen that I was like, oh, marriage actually can be good. And God's intent for marriage is not for everybody to be miserable. It's not like he created Adam and Eve and was like, and thou shalt be miserable. That was not his intent. And then I met Elizabeth. And I say all that to say through those 30 years, I had been to marriage counselor after marriage counselor. I had been to marriage conference after marriage conference. And most of them, if not all of them, were a complete waste of time and money. And so when this come up, I was like, yeah, not doing it. It's the same information that I've always heard, just packaged a little different. But when 2 of the marriages you know are the best marriages you've ever seen are saying, hey, you guys should go to this conference. Doesn't matter if you have a great marriage. Doesn't matter if you're miserable in your marriage. You should go to this conference. Well, when the people who are doing it right say do this, you ought to probably take a little bit of a listen and say, maybe this is worth looking into. And so, you know, it's a couple $100. Yes, it's 4 long days. But think if you're parents out there and you have kids, y'all have spent thousands of dollars, if not countless hours on your children for sports and school things. And you're like, oh, I just want to be a good parent. Well, the thing your kids need more than anything is for your relationship to be the best it can be. And so to put it bluntly, stop making excuses. Stop lying to yourself. If you are miserable in your marriage, you don't have to be. And this is the first conference I'd ever been that was Holy Spirit led. And you actually start to see with the couples around you that you're not the only ones dealing with the things you're dealing with. Actually, most of us have dealt with the same thing. So stop making excuses. Stop lying to yourself. If you don't have the money, you can sign up for DoorDash right now, and by next week you'll have it.
Yes. Yeah, if you are married, this conference is for you. I don't care if you have the best marriage ever or your marriage is in shambles, this is for you. And I was very skeptical as well. I did not want to go, but after talking to Beth Johnson, she really encouraged us to try it out. And guys, I was blown away. I think my expectation was, for most conferences, you know, you have a speaker and then you sit in the audience and then you just take notes. And I was like, why would I want to do that for 4 days? But guys, it is nothing like this. This conference is so interactive and every day is different and the time flies by. And one of the things that I did notice, it's like the air is electrified with the Holy Spirit and you cannot help but walk in and get freedom. I mean, Adam and I got freedom from things we didn't even know we needed freedom from. And yeah, I just want to encourage you, how often, as Adam was saying, we invest in our kids, we invest in businesses. Why not invest in your marriage? Marriage is one of the best relationships and it needs to be healthy and whole for this generation. And so I think the last day to sign up is going to be September 25th. And guys, you do not want to miss it. It is so worth it.